Now here you look at this. This is called index 2. Like I said, when you type index, it actually shows two different functions. So what we did is we have always used the first variety, that is the index, then array, row number, and column number, wherein we are able to find out the value of value in the cell, that is the intersecting point of the given row number and column number. That's how we started. Then we could actually read the value at a given position in a single row and at a given position in a single column. Then we went ahead and seen how to generate entire row from a given matrix or entire column from a given matrix, and of course how to reproduce the whole matrix. So in all these arguments, what we were giving was that we were giving the single array, in the means either a single row or single column or a single matrix. So the reference was always single matrix or a single array, a single column. In fact, index allows you to work with multiple arrays. That means, let us say here I have the four tables: product 1 one table, product 2 one table, product 3 and product 4, each one having one table. This is giving me the quarter wise and the region wise sales, let us say, of product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4. Now I really do not know from which table I would be requiring a number at a given point in time. So I can give all the four tables in the reference of the index function. Then I can choose the table from which I need the intersecting value. That means what? Instead of writing four different index functions to read from the four product tables, I can read from all the four tables, picking up one table at a time. So for this, the arguments are simple. We were earlier giving only one reference. Here we'll give few more references. So now let me start. So here I'll go and say give index. This time I'll select this one. So the references, I'll give these values: B3 to E6 is table 1. Then remember, this is table 2. One requirement is you have to give these tables in the same order. Now, because Excel remembers this array as table 1, this area is table 2, and this area is table 3, and finally this area is table 4, all separated by commas. So now what I have given to the index, instead of giving one table, one array, one matrix, I have given four matrices or four tables or four arrays or four areas. You can say four areas. Then comma. Then I want to go into the row number 3, comma, column number 4. These are the other arguments. If you want, you can actually open this. Second one you have to choose. Oh, sorry, this has gone haywire. Let me cancel it. So let me open one more bracket because I'm giving, yeah, this one, comma, this one, comma, so that all of them stay in the array argument only. Yeah. So now I have completed my array argument. Now, because in writing Excel formulas, you should remember comma means it will go to the next argument. So I put commas, but then I put all of them in one bracket so that all of them constitute the first argument. For now, I put a comma. Now I'll get into the second argument. The second argument is the row number. Now I can open this and see. Yeah, now all this is in the first argument. Then column number. The column number is this. I'm giving this dynamic cell so that I can change these values and see what is happening. Then the area number. The area number is basically which table you want. So, for example, I'm selecting from third table and click OK. Now the answer is 64. How is it 64? Now the first thing is we'll start from here. Go to the table number 3. Go to the table number 3 and go to the row number 3 and column number 4. So go to the table number 3, row 3, column 4. The intersecting value is 64. Now, if I want the similar value from table 1, see it is 24. If I want this similar value, corresponding value for table 2, then it is 30. Now I can change the row number to, let us say, second row, then column number to, let us say, third column. Now it is 19. Now I can change the table number to 4. Now it will read from table number, it is 59. You see how dynamic is this function. The only, see, it is the same function. The only difference is if I got more than one table, I can put all of them in the same formula, and by simply changing this number, I can ask Excel to read from a particular cell. Is this clear? Any questions here, please?
Sir, we are getting result in N11 cell, but the similar value, it is being highlighted in the respective table. Sir,
no. This is my this thing. It will not highlight there.
Yes, sir.
To just connect you to this, I have what you call made this arrangement.
Sir, how, sir?
How is it's conditional formatting?
Okay, sir.
So we will talk about that later. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But remind me this when we discuss conditional formatting. I'll bring you back here and then I'll show you. But this is not part of Excel formula. This is what I have added. This is not part of index formula. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just to draw your attention to tell them where it is getting located, I have just done that. Okay. Good observation. But you have understood the index formula?
Yes, sir.
This is a very powerful tool wherein you can actually feed 2-3 tables once and then read from the table that you desire. Okay. Now, going to the index, the last thing we did here, we were able to produce the entire matrix, but we were not able to produce a part of the matrix. Right? To produce the part of the matrix, you need to understand offset function. And by the way, offset is one of the most powerful functions in Excel, which is used definitely in a very critical, complex positions. That means there you will not have any other option but to use this function. I'll later demonstrate the powerfulness of the offset function through some real-time models that I have developed. The problem is that I'm not able to share all the complex models with you because complex models need a lot of sitting together and a lot of discussion. That is possible only in a classroom setup. So unfortunately, we are not having that setup. So, but anyway, I'll show you some robust models that I've developed using these powerful functions. Okay. Now let us understand what offset does. To start with, offset forms kind of little same duty of index. I'll just display that as an initial argument. Then we'll go and see how it helps us generate bigger arguments. Now the first thing is, again I can get an intersecting cell value just like we did in index. See the first formula here, you give an array, you give a row number, you give a column number, and the intersecting value is given to you. The same is performed by offset also. We'll start with that. But there is a small difference in the arguments. So in the index function arguments, the argument starts with this entire matrix. But the flexibility of offset function is you can start the argument with a single cell. I will say start from here. That is the beauty of offset. So now let me write offset. So the reference is single cell. I'm giving this as A1. Then I'm say go move 3 rows from A1. Move 3 rows from A1. Remember, I'm actually going to the 4th row. It is not including A1. Go 3 rows from A1. Let's go to the 4th row. That means the 4th row is starting with 31. Then go 4 columns from A1. 4 columns. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the column starting with 5. So the column starting with 5, then row starting with 31. So what is the intersecting point? The intersecting point is 35.
35.
35 or 45?
35.
35. So I'd be getting the result as 35, right? And of course, there are 2 other arguments. For time being, I'll keep them as, I can just leave them. 35. Now, it is same as match function, sorry, the same as index function, but except that the flexibility is that I can start actually from anywhere. So for example, let us say I am dealing with this particular matrix, portion of this matrix. Now instead of giving this whole matrix, I can give 67 as the starting point. Right? So let me change this. Now instead of A1, let me say G7. That means it starts with 67. Then go 3 rows. That means 1, 2, 3. That means the last row. And go 4 columns. 4th column is not there. So we will change this later. And give me a point. Let me say 2. So start from 67. Go 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Go 2 columns. 1, 2. So the intersecting point is 99. So instead of giving this whole matrix, I can just give a value from where it can start. But this is not great yet. This is not great yet. It is just like as index. Then you might ask me, sir, why to remember all this starting point, then 3 rows, 2 columns. Rather, I use index. Perfectly right. But if I make use of the other 2 arguments that are there in offset, then you get a beautiful output. So here, let me write, let me go back to this as A1. Going 3 rows and 4 columns, you got 35. This was our earlier result. Now, here, I would write the same function, offset. Reference is A1. Then go 3 columns, 3 rows, 4 columns. Then from there, you go 3 rows and 4 columns. Here, we would get the partial matrix. It's not going to be a number now. Now, start from 35. Start from 35. Go 3 rows, that is 35, 45, 55. Remember here it is including the 35. Then width 4. This is what is going to be my result. That means I am able to take a part of the matrix out, which was not possible in index function. But like I told you, because this is an array function, we should follow the same rules. You should take this whole output range, then click equal to offset, brackets open, reference is A1. From A1, go 3 rows, 4 columns. That means now your new point is 35. The result up to this is 35. So from 35, starting with 35, give me 3 rows and 4 columns. Give me 3 rows and 4 columns. Then Control Shift Enter. So now we see, because I've seen 3 rows and 4 columns, including 35. So, but in the output range, I have selected 4 rows, so it is showing not applicable. So I can't delete this. That's another problem. So let me select 3 rows, 4 columns. Now Control Shift Enter. Control Shift Enter. Is this clear? We change the height to 2. The only problem is you have this 5. Sorry, 5 you can't get. You can have 3. Is this clear? But then this is looking awkward. I was just trying to tell you this. For example, if I want to avoid this, let us say while selecting the output range, let us say I do not know how many rows and how many columns I will be getting. So I'll make an adjustment for this. But let me not go there immediately. I'll do that just a while from now. But have you understood the offset formula? Any questions, please? The offset will throw out a partial matrix out of the main matrix. Any questions with respect to offset formula?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So now I will also help you, remove this awkwardness in the formula. See, for example, what you can do while writing the formula, you can actually select a range like this, so that even when you kind of keep changing these values, still the output is displayed. So for this, let me try something like equal to. Let us say this is what I have given. But before this formula, you have something called if error. If error, that means in case there is an error in this formula, you return me 0. This if error, did we discuss anytime before?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
This is one of the useful things in VLOOKUP formulas. So if error means if there is an error in the formula, you return me 0. That's the meaning of what I have written there. Now Control Shift Enter. It's not giving you 0. So if error is not working on this. Okay. Keeping this, let me try conditional formatting. So, cell value is error. You have something like that? No, it's not working. So generally, if error works with all VLOOKUP formulas, but it's not working here, maybe because it is an array formula. Okay, this is a limitation that we have to live with. So the only thing is, let me change to 4. Yeah, it's okay. It's working. But only thing is we have to find a way to deal with this not applicable. So generally, in case of VLOOKUP, it works. Let us say you have one. So A1. B1. If, for example, if I'm writing a VLOOKUP formula, to see a lookup value of this in the table array this and written from the third row. So now, so this is my input cell. Let's say if I put A here, then I'll get 2. If I B here, then I'll get 4. If I put C here, then I'll get 4 only because of it's a range lookup. Now I'll give it 0 here, exact match. Then it says there is an error because C is not found. So to deal with this, I can go with and write say if error. Then if this is the case, I can ask, if there's an error in the formula, I can ask Excel to return me 0. So if I give C or D, then it will give me 0. Even I can give a message, text message, let us say not found. So if I give D, not found. If it is A, 2, it's B, then 4. If it is anything other than these two, it says not found. This is called if error formula. So,
Sir,
yeah.
in offset formula, you gave flower bracket, sir. Maybe because of that.
No. Here, we don't give this flower bracket. So, this flower bracket is taken by the Excel itself. If when you press Control Shift Enter, while writing the formula, we will not write this. See, while writing the formula, we'll write only this portion. Anyway, this is an opportunity for you to experiment. See, while writing the formula, what we're doing, while writing an array formula, you select the output range, then click equal to, then write the formula. And now here, Control Shift Enter. After I press that, it will take the flower bracket. Just to indicate that what you see here is a array form. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Now it still works except this awkwardness. That means I can still change the number, the column size and row size and get the desired output. But how to deal with this if error, we'll see later. But here I have shown you the application of if error. You can also experiment and let me know if this works with the array formulas also. Just go to Google and type, if error with array formulas. You will get the some message, either it works or it doesn't work.